Funky politics.
We are in a situation right now where the president is just gone Yosemite Sam. He's out there, guns are blazing, pardoning people left and right, being funky all over the place, just like This Is Funky Politics, saying that he is the chief law enforcement officer. And I'm no longer the chief petty officer. I'm also the chief law enforcement officer as well.
I feel like busting loose, busting loose. Give me the bread now. I feel like busting loose.
Welcome back to Funky Politics, the funkiest show in the land. I am DC, sitting here along with my longtime co-host, Doc Ward. What's up, Doc?
I wake up, I walk up, and I go to the studio, and it looks like I did a throwback.
Oh, my Lord.
Because I'm looking at you and nobody else. So that makes me do this thing right here like we used to say. Do not attempt to adjust your radio station. You are listening to the funkiest podcast in the entire nation. Funky Politics, F-U-N-K-Y, where we do it real, right, and funky all day and day. How about it?
It's always funky.
How about it?
It's always funky when you hear, when I walked in today, there was this aroma in the air, and I'm thinking, man, you know what that is? That's brute. No, it wasn't brute.
No, what that is? That's success, baby.
No, it was booty. But anyway, I think it was somebody offered us a nice herbal piece out of their garden. Would you wear this? No, I'm good on that. Smells like, but anyway, no. Let's get down to the brass tacks, man. Hey, look, there's been a lot that's going on.
Wow.
Every day in the world, there's something going on,
2020, right? Man. It's like 5 or 6 different things going on today.
Ooh-wee. Well, I want to start with one thing.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to check out the Daytona 500. Praise God, Ryan Newman, he's out of the hospital. Hey, shouts out to the guy. He took a very, very terrible, he had a very, very terrible accident, but he's on the mend. Walked out of the hospital.
But is the Daytona 500 not the statistical start of the NASCAR season?
Statistical start, that's correct.
Right,
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's a rough race, man.
100,000 people are in that stadium.
Yeah.
I've been to Daytona so many years over the last few years, and let me tell you something. It's huge.
Well, they're all like that. If you go to Talladega, it's huge. Go to Bristol,
exactly.
120,000 people.
Huge. It's huge. It's huge. It's just huge.
Massive, as they say.
As a matter of fact, my president, which is your president as well, he had an opportunity to start all engines. Why'd you duck?
Chief Petty Officer?
Oh, my God.
Okay,
but there you go again. He had an opportunity to start the race, right?
Uh-huh.
He did something that no one has ever done before. This guy took the Beast with the first lady in it, and they circled the track one time. And they led the race off. Wasn't that awesome to see that?
No,
I thought it was really, really, really unsafe.
Is that even regular? Regulation car can even be out there doing that?
Well, they let him do it.
And he delayed the race?
It could have been pace. Well, actually, he delayed the race because I think it rained later.
So then you have airtime and everything else that gets delayed because he wants to ride. I tell you the truth, he's something special.
But you got to think about the audience he was down there for, right? There is an audience that really appreciates this president.
Oh yeah, he's right there in the heart of Make America Great Again.
So everybody had a red and white
down
hat
there with
on.
your guy. Sucks to be that dude. Yeah,
that's another state.
He's down there with it. Oh yeah,
it's Marco Rubio.
That's Louisiana.
But it does suck to be that dumb.
Yeah. He's down there.
So again, hats off, Ryan Newman. He's out of the hospital. Daytona 500 got off to a wonderful start. It's kicking off the season for those of us who are African American who love to attend those races.
And it's a great place, a family event. Go out, take your kids, everything else. Enough about Florida. What else is going on?
Enough about Daytona 500.
Enough about it. What else is going on?
Sesame Street.
Sesame
Street's in the news.
Sesame Street is turning 51.
Wow.
And they're showing you that they are
51?
still on point, still on the cutting edge.
They're relevant? Are you saying they're still relevant?
Still very much relevant.
wow,
Big
okay.
Bird is relevant. Cookie Monster is relevant. Oscar the Grouch is relevant.
He's my friend.
Grover is relevant. Well, Grover kind of been replaced by Elmo, though, right?
Elmo?
Yeah.
I love Elmo.
But it was Grover first. Grover used to be the man.
Man, Grover's a dude.
Yeah, but anyway. But now, dude is Billy Porter. Fashion design extraordinaire.
You said
bringing his tuxedo gown to Sesame Street because he wants to show every child as a place on Sesame Street, whether or not you are male, female, whether you are trying to decide, a child is trying to decide to figure out what gender he or she best identifies with. There is a place for you in that land of enchantment called 1, 2, 3 Sesame Street. Can you tell me how to get there?
Well, I don't know if you get there with a gown. I think what you also have to look at. No, I got something against it. I'm not saying I'm against it, but now sometimes do we as adults, we push our beliefs off on these young people?
So you sound
these are
like
children.
You sound like Lil Boosie on Dwayne Wade, man.
What? Why would you put me?
You sound like Boosie, man.
Lil Boosie.
You sound like Lil Boosie. You know, and for those you all know the story. Of course, you know Dwayne Wade has 3 sons, but he has one son that identifies as female. So he's trying to raise her as a female as he identifies with. And of course, this has drawn some support from most people that we hear, but the ire of others who say that at 12 years old, his son is not really knowing who or what he identifies with, and he should be guiding that force instead of trying to just let his son decide automatically he wants to be.
You know, I think we need to do a show about this. I think it's important.
Mark it down.
I think it's important.
Let's talk to Kirk as the producer.
Kirk, I think Kirk. I think.
I don't know. He's a little set in his ways. Maybe Jeremy.
I think Jeremy's a lot better. Kirk's like one of those old fuddy duds. I know.
Kirk's funky like we are on
Kirk's
Funky
really
Politics, powered by Kudzukian right now. Yeah,
Kirk's really fun. Well, speaking of funky and Kirk, and his relative Meghan Markle, who
he's late to Meghan.
Yeah, well,
all this time he didn't.
He didn't tell me. He didn't tell me. I said, hey, you could have got me tickets to the wedding.
No, he told me we wouldn't have had this problem we got right now because see, here's the thing. Now that they've separated from the royal family.
No, they got one more turn.
One more turn?
They're getting ready to go back across the pond. They got one more royal duty, and then after that.
The royal duty.
Yeah. Royal duty.
The royal duty. So what's the royal duty?
Well, I think it's not. Is it trooping of the guards? They've got something going on over there, right? Which is something that, of course, the queen is pushing. So you have the entire royal family out there, and they're invited to come back and participate in this. And so after this, they'll go back to Canada, and they will be the prince and princess of Sussex. Still. They won't be referred to as Your Royal Highness.
They're not the princess now. He's like
no. The title's not been no. He does not give up the title. He still has his title, but his and her Royal Highness will be taken away because
they can't use the word royal.
No. But they can make some dollars, Doc. They can't
use the word royal. I didn't know the word royal was owned by anybody.
No, they can't use the term his and her Royal Highness.
Huh?
No, they cannot.
They can't say royal.
Queen said you can't do it.
I'd be like James Evans. I'd be like James Evans on Coming to America. I'd stick my foot up your royal ass.
Oh God, no. Geez.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Hey, that thing, I can see whatever. I can be whatever I want to be.
Well, I tell you
Still
what,
my family.
Not on the Queen's dime.
But it just goes to show you how. I mean, and let me say that all of this going on, and what's the only difference between that and every other marriage that has occurred in the history of the royal family? What's the one different thing?
Divorce.
Now they've had that too.
Some of them are getting divorced.
Some of them are getting divorced. Some of them hang out with your guy.
Oh wow! Now come on, now I think you're being unfair. Only one person hung out with Jeff.
But they do. I'm just saying, everybody does something.
Come on now. But
all of a sudden, Harry has an interracial marriage, and you have all of this tremor and furor behind.
I'm gonna call my doctor, Dr. Melanie Jackson, out of DC, and I'm gonna ask her, hey, what do you think about some stuff? She's a real deep sister.
Melanie Jackson.
Melody Jackson.
Oh, Melody Jackson.
She's a deep sister.
Well, pump up, man. Great. Melody Jackson. What's she gonna tell you?
She's gonna probably tell me, DC, you're wrong.
No, but hopefully she's not telling you that you have coronavirus, because this situation continues to claim lives and still no control in sight. Now we know that it won't rise at this point. Hasn't risen to anything that we call international epidemic levels.
Well, let me throw you some statistics out there.
But it is affecting some economic issues out here, particularly in Asia.
So it originated, right, in what is it called, the Hubei province in China, right?
Right.
You're talking about an entire a city of millions, basically, right?
Well,
has been shut off from the rest of the world, and now they're relaxing just a little bit. But you're talking about 349 cases that have been broken out in that province just as of late.
349
of coronavirus.
Right.
I mean, I'm just going to throw you out just some simple statistics right here. 2,126 people have died now worldwide, with the exception of 11 being outside of the China province.
Wow.
Outside of the Chinese province, right?
Wow.
I'm telling you right now, and then now guess what? Kuwait, they just found out that they're in Iran, Kuwaiti Airlines is saying we're not going to fly anything into Guam anymore, into Iran.
Has the virus gone over to the Middle East?
Apparently, there are a couple of folks who have been infected with the coronavirus in a province of Iran.
Wow.
And so now you got to start thinking, is this one of those things where we start getting really political now with Iran? And we have now a reason to really shut it off from the rest of the...
No.
Okay, I'm just asking.
No,
asking
because if that's the case, we've got cases in the United States. So no. What we've got to do, though...
Wait a minute, we had some citizens that were on a ship now, on the Princess, and we've still got some folks over there.
Yeah.
14 who actually got on the plane to come back to America that were infected with another 300 plus folks. And they're telling them, hey, look, we got to put you in another quarantine situation because there's a possibility that you may be able to infect somebody else in this country.
Well, what we've got to do on an international level is we have to be more mindful of the health care that we give and receive and how people contract various illnesses, because now that international travel is much more prominent, the opportunity to contract certain diseases that may be untreatable in certain areas because they're not used to them becomes more apparent. So we just have to be more vigilant. But one illness that I want to talk about before we get out of here,
we gotta get
I'm
out
real
of here.
concerned about.
I'm really concerned. Can you hold it? Can you hold it?
I can hold that. I can hold it.
Hold it like a guy that got to run to the
There's another
bathroom.
illness that we got to really talk about at the top of the next segment before we get to anything else.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll be right back with more funky politics right here on the Kudzukian Network.
I feel like busting loose, busting loose.
Because we're so funkified. Nothing but the funk.
3,
The power of sisterhood is very important. So check on your strong friend, call your sister friend.
B,
That's what I love about sisterhood. Like, there is no airs. I don't have to put on for you all.
C,
Wherever I am, that's where you all are. So I constantly have pictures. I'm calling, I'm texting, I'm sending stuff. I'm trying to keep connected.
3 Black Chicks on the Kudzukian Network.
We're back with Funky Politics, powered by the Kudzukian Network. As always, I mean always, sitting here in the captain's chair, and the co-captain's chair, and the jack. What do we call ourselves?
I call myself Skipper. I call you Gilligan. We
Whatever.
like Martin and Lewis.
I'm DC Doc Ward.
You tell
Hey,
the jokes, I sing the songs, and get the girl, man.
well, you have all the fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of like Laurel and Hardy.
I
Which
do.
one are you?
I don't know.
I'm
All on the Hardy, that's a little bit beyond my age
man,
range.
those guys, man, they were
Yeah.
funny as hell back in the day. But anyway,
They had
let's get
style,
back to
but they didn't talk, though.
Well, it was cool. It was okay. I didn't
Okay.
want them to talk. They were really funny.
Laugh tunes.
Shtick. We call it shtick. Let's get back to you. You said you had a piece that you needed to break out on the table.
Yeah,
and
because
talk
we were
about.
talking about illnesses, and I've noticed that there's an illness that's occurring, particularly with celebrities. You know, it started out with Bill Cosby, and when he got into his issues, I didn't realize
no,
they
call
brought him
it
out.
what it was.
He
What is his
he
issue?
was blind, and then he couldn't
wow.
see. Then Harvey Weinstein was cool at first, but then when they brought him to trial,
He's on
the case. So I'm figuring there's an illness amongst us, and it must be called indictment. It's an illness that gets you where you can't do. All of a sudden, you can't do anything. It's like
It's
you
indictitis?
You can't see, you can't walk, or what?
Funny thing you say. I was watching Saturday Night Live one night, and of course, this guy plays. He plays the president, right?
Yeah.
And so he comes in on the walker right now,
Right.
and Keenan is he's sitting as a judge. This thing was just as funny as it could be. But you know what? I think when you look at it, Doc, when we go to court, we want the jury. If we got a jury trial, right, and you know
Jury.
this well,
Jury.
or if you want some sympathy from the judge, you're gonna look as humble, and you should be as humble as possible, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm sure as a trained attorney, that's probably what you would tell a client. Let's be humble. Let's not be too out there.
But if you accuse of sexually assaulting over 50 women, I don't care if you coming in with your legs sawed off. I ain't gonna sit there.
No, wait a minute,
and
his
look at
legs
you
sawed off now.
I mean, you
That-
talking
he-
about?
no, he ain't do it.
But he's walking
He
on
ain't
a
do it.
walker, and he wants to get some drumming up sympathy now.
yeah,
You know,
he was kicking it before though.
He was-
Doc. I saw him. I saw him in L.A.
He was
How
kick-
you doing, man? I got a drink. Don't leave me alone, man.
You said he was kicking it
Wow.
before. Now he's on the walk. We're gonna stop. We're gonna stop.
Get outta here, man.
We're gonna no more checking. But man, there was some checking on this debate stage, man. It was like unleash the hounds, and everybody just started dogging Mike Bloomberg. Everybody just went over. It just
Okay,
officers
so
started beating
this
him in the
guy
head.
spends
Right.
$350 million that we know of to date, right?
I thought it's more like 494
well,
million.
okay, it's good. Well, this
Okay.
is just as of printing last night.
Okay, yeah.
About
He's printing his own money now.
$350 million to really get a message out there, right?
Put himself
Because-
in a good light. Yeah.
And can I tell you, going into the debate on last evening, that he was probably sitting there as the there was an old term, I won't even call it what it is now, but let me tell you something. He was the favorite. I think
Yeah.
he was the favorite. People thought this guy was going to step in there and save the republic from Donald Trump because he's been doing it in commercials. He has literally been saving the republic from Donald Trump. And last evening, he laid one hell of an egg.
It's kind of like old show Love Connection.
stank-ass egg,
A
too.
Love Connection when you saw the person behind the screen and they come out and they're like a foot shorter than you thought they would be.
You said, "Oh, that ain't the curtain I asked for. I asked for the Roman noodles."
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
What they say last night, I went to bed at 2 with a 10, woke up at 10 with a 2. That's exactly what he was. He was a 2. And he spent all that money to give him a jump start because he knew debating has never been his thing. Not even when he was running for mayor of New York. I don't recall him ever being a great debater. Now, he's never been a great debater. What he has been is a great spender and a great spinner. And that's what he's been doing with his commercials. But when he had the rubber met the road, and the thing about it is, the thing about the debate with him, it wasn't just that he was not winning the debate. It was that the answers that he would give him was so piss poor. It was ridiculous. It's like Elizabeth Warren is sitting there attacking you, man, about women who have signed non-disclosure agreements for sexual harassment cases they brought against you that you obviously...
No, wait a minute. Let's, okay, not necessarily against him, but against
your
Bloomberg.
company,
yes, against Bloomberg,
and members of your company.
I want to make sure we
that
make
you
that clear.
obviously have paid them, a sizable amount of money, at least in their mouth, to sign on and say we won't say anything about it. But then he goes, they don't have anything in those agreements about me. Except for a couple of jokes I told, and I didn't do
juvenile. I didn't understand. And then you got the Klobuchar Buttigieg fight. What the hell are they fighting about? Are y'all fighting about for?
Are you calling me dumb?
I mean, it's crazy.
Are you calling? No, I'm not calling you dumb. What I'm saying is that if you serve on a foreign policy committee and you don't know who the president is of the adjoining nation, that's an issue for them and for the people of the United States.
Well, I think what it showed our viewers, and I mean our viewers, I'm talking about us is too, that y'all, we got to do something right now because it's looking bad. Now, Joe Biden, I'm going to tell you something about Joe. Joe actually was a steady hand. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad.
But here's the problem.
Go ahead.
Buttigieg is beating up on Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar is beating up on Buttigieg. Elizabeth Warren's beating up on Bloomberg. Bloomberg's trying to beat up on Sanders. Joe Biden is shadowboxing. And he's still losing.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Well,
for someone who came into the race.
Winners and losers, what I've heard is, and what I've seen and read already, that's why you're listening to Funky Politics powered by the Kudzukian Network, because you get it here first, is Elizabeth Warren clearly came out as the presumptive winner of that debate.
Right.
But does it help her where she needs help at the most? And I don't think it's going to move the needle.
Well, I don't
think it's going to move the needle.
I tend to agree with you to some degree. She raised a lot of money after the debate.
Sure.
Because there were people that were inspired, probably people that were going to give her money anyway, but they wanted to see what she's going to do. But the problem with these types of debates is that when you win at the expense of other people, when you win by checking other candidates, and she undressed everybody. She went down the line. It was like they were pledging Elizabeth Sci-Fi last week. She went down. You said, your plan is a PowerPoint. Your plan is a Post-it note. Your plan is non-existent.
She cut herself apart from everybody else.
She just went around the room and said, all of y'all suck except for me.
That's right.
And so, that was great, but she's talking about everybody else and not talking about what she's going to do.
Yeah.
And for someone who does not resonate with the black community, and going to South Carolina and going into Nevada, she needed to have more talking about what she was going to do against Trump. And she did not hardly say anything about Bernie Sanders, the person to whose positions and platform she's most aligned with.
Is America ready for a woman president?
Absolutely. America's been ready for a woman president. I think America is starving to elect a woman president, but it's got to be the right one. I think if someone with the demeanor of Stacey Abrams, Michelle Obama, would have come up and stepped up to the plate.
But you don't have those.
But
you got the choices you got now. And so since you got the choices you got now,
ain't ready for them women.
Okay, well these two won't make it.
Not
right?
Posted no Amy and not
these two won't make it.
And the thing about Elizabeth Warren, and maybe I'm the only person that ain't gotten over it yet. I'm still stuck at the first Native American professor at Harvard thing. I'm still back here in the back. And when you co-op a culture
that's gonna follow her.
That's been disadvantaged,
that's gonna follow her
for your personal gain.
Sure,
you don't need to be racist. You're basically a cultural thief. You're Rachel Dolezal. You're worse than Rachel Dolezal because you're actually getting compensated on the basis of being a Native American professor of college. Now, if there's somebody out there that can tell me something mitigating about it, I'd love to hear it. But I've always been stuck on that right there because that's someone who's taking directly from the culture. Sure. And I have a problem with that, and I'll continue to have
I'm going to throw another one at you then. If that's the case, then you got Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders last night, he didn't lose. He held his own.
But nobody attacked him.
But nobody, yes, exactly.
Nobody attacked him except for Pete Buttigieg did it a little bit.
Sure.
And Bloomberg did a little bit, but he was already discredited.
I'm going to go there with you on this one. Are we ready for a Jewish president? Because when was the last one?
We have not had one.
Oh wow.
Not that I'm aware of.
And you know how some of us in America are those of us who are, as arch conservative as we say we are, we don't accept people.
No.
What you want to say, racist?
No. This is funky politics.
So
we have to be real with
those folks who are out there who are just diehard racists. We're trying to pick apart why I shouldn't vote for you, Doc, because you're black, because you're a woman, because you're Jewish, because you're or because you're Mormon. I think that America is just as much ready for a Jewish president as they were a Mormon president. I think there will be some issues as it relates. I'd like to know how the Jewish president addresses issues involving the Middle East, particularly with Iran and particularly with the situation going on in Israel right now, and the Palestinians.
And the Palestinian.
Is there a fair outcome?
Will there be a two-state solution?
Right.
Will there be a two-state solution? Will the embassy be moved back to Tel Aviv? Exactly. So those are things that I would like to know. But I think that just as a global sense, yes, we're ready for a Jewish president. I think we're ready for any leader that's going to articulate a plan that is not going to break us as individuals, and it's going to put us together. I mean, help us come together and move forward. We may never culturally get along in the sense of being friends and neighbors and everything else, but as long as there's a sense of respect to where people understand that you're American and you're just as much American as I am, and that can be done.
Then we have to have a conversation about Mayor Pete.
Right.
Because there is absolutely no doubt about it. I think Rush Limbaugh threw out there a couple of weeks ago that he had disdain for the fact that you would have a president kissing the first man, I guess, would be
the first spouse.
The first spouse of the United States, which would be
stop trying to do that.
I'm sorry, my bad.
That's clumsy.
Which would be his husband. And so and Pete, of course, said, hey, look, he's my husband. I love my husband. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to take a upbringing, from a Rush Limbaugh, someone who has a history, I think, of divorces and leaving people.
If America can be ready for Rush Limbaugh,
are they ready for a gay president?
If America's ready for Rush Limbaugh getting a Presidential Medal of Freedom, then America should be ready for a gay president.
You said should be. And understand something. America, up to this point, until we got 45, did not give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Right.
He was not considered a part of that class of people who would be up for a Presidential Medal of Freedom. So if you're telling me that based on that, well, then I said we're not.
Well, I would tell
because
you.
Can I give you my premise? Why?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think you have so many segments in our community. I'm going to start with the black community. The black community, I don't think we've gotten to the point yet. We have them in our homes, our children, our in-laws, whatever they are, our relatives, but we've not gotten to the point yet where we are so secure in our own sexuality where we can say, I accept him as love or accept her as love, and they're going to be out front with me.
Why would you say the black community is so homophobic?
No, hold on. No, I'm not just saying us. I'm going to go down the road.
I'm just saying.
Because I'm black, and I can talk about my community.
Of course you can.
I'm just giving you, I'm telling you from experience. Uh-huh. And the experience is that I am black, and I have had people. I have people in my family who are
right,
and there is
who are black or who are homosexual. Or both. Okay, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Both, and I love them to death.
Uh-huh.
But are they accepted by all, especially some of my older folks in my family? No.
Oh, you hit on something right there. But I'll tell you what, we're going to take a pause for the cause and come back to that point right here on Funky Politics, powered by the Kudzukian Network.
Funky Politics.
Hey, I'm Williams Brack, co-host of Grind Set. The insight you gain from us and our guests will motivate you to take the leap into entrepreneurship. Make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast provider.
Grind Set on the Kudzukian Network.
Kudzukian. Do it. Dig satisfied. Whatever it is. Do it. Dig satisfied. Go on and do it. Dig satisfied. Whatever it is.
Funky Politics coming at you, powered by Kudzukian Network, the Kudzukian Network, the one and only, the original, the genuine article. That's what it is. And two genuine articles here, but we don't sing though. This is DC, and I am Doc Ward.
I sing sometimes,
but you don't sing well.
No, I don't. Up the rough side of the mountain, and it's rough, Doc.
I'm coming up. Yeah, here we go. Anyway, before we broke last time, we were talking about the debate, and we're talking about America being ready for the different types of cultural candidates that are being presented, because it's still a diverse party, even though there are no people of color no longer in the top 6.
Because Andrew Yang's out now, right?
Andrew Yang left, and that means that there are no more people of color. You hear that, Elizabeth? There are no more people
did you go there?
of
Did
color
you do that?
in this race. I just want to make sure this understood.
That she understands.
That she understands that. Great night last night. No more people of color.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but anyway, that being the case, you were talking about, and you were saying that you didn't think that the black community,
that's right,
and the country, particularly the black community, is ready for a gay president.
I think you can look at how Mayor Pete Buttigieg is polling, and I'm talking about across. And you
did
can look
well in Iowa.
Well, no.
Did well in New Hampshire.
He probably do pretty well in Nevada, but I will tell you where he won't do well. He won't do well in South Carolina. Clyburn has said as much. We all have said as much. He won't do well in Tennessee.
Yeah, because
he won't do well in Alabama.
Like South
he
Carolina
won't do well
is getting bought up by Mike Bloomberg by the day.
But the point of it is, he may do well in California if he can last to California. But the issue is
Sanders has a pretty big lead there. In most polls, Biden has the lead in other ones. I don't know about that.
And I just absolutely think that with all of our prejudices out there, that's just one that will, and not the black, but you got people in the white community, you got people in other communities out there who said they're not ready to go there just yet. Just yet. I'm not saying that we won't get there, because nobody wanted segregation to end. Well, we did. We certainly wanted it to end.
Yeah, we wanted it to end. Yeah,
but until whites started seeing themselves on TV devastating the lives of African Americans,
absolutely,
it didn't change until they said, this is bigger than us.
Right.
This is not us.
Right.
And it took people of goodwill to say, no, we're not going to do this anymore. Mr. President, you do something about this, or we'll do something about it. Yeah. And I think that's what happened. And I think that's what's going to have to happen to finally get us someone who and because he's a great candidate. I got more of a problem of a guy coming from a small town with the largest employer being Notre Dame University.
Yeah, well, I've got a problem that he's got with the African Americans in his town that he seems to be sort of dismissal about, where they still don't really feel the compassion or the concern about him. So whether he's gay, whether he's straight, no matter what he is, one thing that he is not is a favorite of the black community there, and they live with him every day.
Electable in the black community.
I'm going to look at what they're doing when I cast my vote, and I think other black voters in America will be doing the same. So all that having been said, very quickly, who do you think won the debate
on last evening?
Yes.
I think Elizabeth Warren came away as the strongest viable debater, the strongest debater last night.
Master debater.
Did she get 5 more points out of it? No, she didn't. Because they expect her to be the dog. You expect somebody running from behind.
Even if Mike Bloomberg got diminished support because of it, none of that support goes to her?
No, I think that support goes to Biden.
Oh, wow.
I think that people are really looking to support Joe, and they're waiting for Joe's campaign to really get started. Yeah. I honestly believe that I've talked to some talking heads.
Well, November will be here in a minute.
It will be here in a minute, but I will say this. The Joe Super Tuesday will be a telltale sign for him, and he may make it to where we're going to be at in Milwaukee.
Oh,
the whole place, God help us.
Milwaukee.
It's going to be in Milwaukee. So he may go, and there's going to be a broker convention.
Yes.
And everybody, they asked the question, will you support the candidate who gets a plurality of the delegates? Everybody said no, with the exception of one.
Bernie Sanders.
That's right.
All right. Well, here's the whole thing about it. I think that that Elizabeth Warren performed spectacularly last night because she was all over the place.
Sure.
She was on top of Bloomberg like she needed to be, and really on him and everything. He was about humanizing him and getting him out of that deity that all of the internet ads and the other ads had made. She brought him down and said,
"You're that."
Well, you can only bring him so low. And anyway, I can say I'm vertically challenged as well. But the thing about it is
vertically challenged.
Yeah, well, not as him, no. But anyway, I think she did a good job with that. Also, as it relates to the healthcare plan, with just walking down the line, stripping all the other candidates. I thought that it was hilarious. It was entertaining. But is it going to make me vote for her? Or better yet, is it going to make undecided, non-committed, non-partisan voters get up and vote for her?
That's right.
Independents, no. Because there were, and then for the whole entire pool, you didn't have a lot of issues. No one really talked about immigration. And amazingly, no one really talked about gun control. And you're sitting in the hotbed of the location, rather, of the worst gun massacre in American history. Nobody talked about that as either. So all you had were people really talking about each other and what they could and could not do in their plans. And so when you have those types of debates, we've seen it from the Kamala Harris, I was the girl on the bus thing.
Yeah.
It may give you some lift for a day or two, but it does not turn into long-lasting situations. Elizabeth Warren is still looking for that state that she's going to conquer in, and so are the other candidates. Now, let's talk about our State of the Union, by the way, because we are in a situation right now where the president is just gone Yosemite Sam. He's out there, guns a-blazing, pardoning people left and right, being funky all over the place, just like This Is Funky Politics, powered by the Kudzukian Network, saying that he is the chief law enforcement officer. Sure. Now, I'm no longer the chief petty officer. I'm also the chief law enforcement officer as well.
I think you just took a shot at becoming the chief petty officer.
We've been calling
45, let me tell you, I didn't say that. That was Doc Ward.
Yeah, well, he's chief petty officer.
But you know something, though? He has one absolute authority that no one can question. I mean,
what is that?
That's pardon.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing the president can do that the Constitution affords him, that you can't appeal to the Supreme Court.
Sure.
You can't go to the legislative branch.
Right.
He has the right to pardon.
Yeah.
Now, what he didn't want to do was to come out so soon and say, I'm going to do it. But just as of late, I've heard as of late that he says, I'm not looking at it right now, but it's on the table.
To pardon whom?
Roger Stone. Roger Stone was sentenced.
Right. 3 years.
He got 3 years and I think 4 months or something.
Right.
Well, he got 40 months.
Actually, he got 40 months. But understand,
And 2 years probation.
In the federal system,
Sure.
for good behavior, generally, you will get 52 days off for every year that you serve. That's the way it works. So you essentially end up serving 85% of your sentence. So in this case, with 40 months, 34 months, he'll be out. Actually, before that, he'll be out because the way they triage you down, the closer he gets to the end, they'll put him in a halfway house or somewhere, And I don't think.
Hell, before that happened, he's going to get pardoned.
And I was going to say, he'll be at the country club before he even gets to that. So, I mean, he might even want a pardon.
If this president does not win.
He might even want a pardon where he's going.
If this president does not win, I can assure you, Michael Flynn, who's asked for a new trial as well, and Roger Stone's asked for a new trial as well, will get a pardon from this president because they've done something a lot of folks hadn't done.
Which is
they
what?
just shut them out. They didn't tell everything they know.
But then what does that say for this president? What does it say for the legacy that he wants to leave behind?
Of the lie is what he is.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, here's the difference. The other pardons that you have now with Blago and so on and Sheriff.
Did he pardon Kwame?
No,
my brother Kwame out in Detroit.
Kwame's still sitting there like, free Kwame.
Damn,
Kwame gonna have to wait.
Damn.
Kwame gonna have to wait for another president, man.
Wait a minute.
He might have to wait for somebody else.
He ain't do Kwame, man?
No, man. He's still waiting.
I was thinking he was living in Atlanta, but
I think Jerron has the paperwork. And then Jerron has to get the paperwork to Kellyanne, who has to get the paperwork to Mike Pence, who has to get the paperwork to Donald Trump. I think it's the way it works. But anyway, back to this whole thing, though. The difference between then you have to really listen to this because look at this, because the difference between the other pardons that Donald Trump has been offering and these that you're talking about is that the people that have been incarcerated as part of his administration are all incarcerated because of their dealings with him. Roger Stone was lying to an agent about what? About what he ate for breakfast yesterday? No. About the president. Paul Manafort was out here wheeling and dealing for who? For his wife? No, for him. Michael Flynn was out in the Ukraine for who? For the president.
That's right.
So if the president starts pardoning people who were indicted, or who were convicted rather, for crimes related to actions that he has taken, then what does that say about him as a president? And what does it say about others that may be looking at him? Because, he's still got some investigations out there ongoing about him too.
Let me tell you what Judge Amy Berman Jackson said. Okay. And this is a direct quote.
And the judge in the Roger Stone.
Yes. Judge, she was a federal district judge in D.C.
Right.
She said Stone was not prosecuted for standing up for the president.
Right.
She said he was prosecuted for covering up for the president.
Absolutely.
This is a federal district judge.
Absolutely.
That said this. That's powerful.
Absolutely.
That's powerful.
And that's why using pardoning power on someone of the ilk of Roger Stone is going to be so damaging to him. And the thing about it is, you say, well, Trump's beyond reproach, this, that, and the other, the way he feels about things. But It may not be damaging to the person that he is. It's damaging to the person that he wants to be and the person that he wants to be regarded as, because he still wants to be regarded as this great leader, this great American leader. But all he's being regarded as right now is this great American cheater. Because of everything you get out of, every issue that you have, you are freed from that issue because you happen to have the majority on your side, or someone bought off, or some associate over here that took the bullet for you. What does that say not only about your ability to maintain integrity, but your manhood when you're confronted with times of trouble, how you human shield others to cover up for your own transgressions?
Well, I want to jump from Roger and go to Blago.
Go ahead.
The former governor, Rod Blagojevich of Illinois, had a 14-year sentence. Now, there are some out there in the community say that that he was really over. Well, not going to say over sentence, but his sentence was a little bit weighty for what he did. And so, you as a jurist, Doc, he served 8 years. I would think that probably was good enough, though.
Federal sentences are all done by the United States Sentencing Guidelines.
Sure.
It's not a situation where there's a lot of subjectivity.
No doubt.
Okay, it's done strictly by the book. Where the intersection of your offense level meets your criminal history is the amount of time that you get. And every now and then, you get enhancing factors. People that are in government are always going to be subject to enhancing factors when they do wrong in government, because as keepers of the public trust, they should know better. But if you don't know anything else, he should have gotten that extra sentence because of that awful, awful hairdo that he continues to have even though this day, even though it's gray. And that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, look, we'll be right back with more Funky Politics, powered by the Kudzukian Network. Don't go anywhere.
The whole funk, because we're so funkified. Nothing but the funk.
Who you with? Yeah. Who you with? Yeah. Who you with? Yeah. Who you with? Yeah. I'm with my clique. I'm with my clique.
We're back with Funky Politics, and you already know what this is, y'all. You know what segment this is.
When you hear the music, you know it's on. Once again, it's on and will forever be on, or at least on until that first Tuesday in November, when we finally find out who the nation is with. But right now, we want to know who you with. We got.
Is there anywhere they can go and send us information on? I mean, just go to our Facebook page. Go to our Facebook page at Kudzukian right there. Go
Kudzukian and Funky Politics.
Oh, no. What? Well, go to Kudzukian's Facebook page, and we got a Funky Politics page.
We got a Funky Politics.
We do have a Funky Politics Facebook page.
Okay.
Go there and tell us who you with.
Who you with?
Because I want to shout out some names on air and say, well, Drago from Bismarck, Maine, or Bismarck, North Dakota says he's with Pete Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Is Buttigieg?
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Not Buttigieg.
Who you with? You with Pete? Mayor Pete?
No. I actually thought a lot of Mayor Pete in the beginning.
I didn't.
I still do now.
I don't.
I thought he's very intelligent. I mean, think about it. He's very articulate about what he wants to do and how he wants to do it.
Oh,
yeah.
That black man, he's so intelligent. He's so
so
articulate.
Yeah.
You hear that all the time about
that boy gonna preach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what comes
Well,
next.
he must be a teacher. No, sir. I'm an investment banker.
No, but I like his background. I like what he had to say. I like what I thought his vision was for America. One issue that I have with just about every candidate in the race is that I want to find out, and I'm gonna start with Bernie Sanders, who's the front runner.
Yeah.
He's got a cult following.
Bernie Sanders, BS. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, that's his initials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders has a cult following. He's got a lot to say. He came back from a heart attack. Now he's the front runner. He was in the back at first.
Yeah, he won't turn in his medical forms at all.
My issue with Bernie Sanders ain't who you with. My issue with Bernie Sanders is how much it costs. How much you're going to pay for it. I have heard that the things that collectively his initiatives are going to cost this nation in upwards of $35 trillion. I don't know if that's true or false, but the other problem I have with it is if he is a socialist and he comes forward with all these budget-busting details of what and his budget-busting expenses of what he wants to do, it's never going to get past the Senate. It's never going to get past the House. So you can have all the optimism in the world. Executive order ain't going to fund no health care or student loans or nothing else.
Why can't you fold people into Medicare, though? But see, Medicare is set up for what? Medicare is set up for those post-65 people,
post-65,
right? Retirees.
And folks with a certain income.
Well, yeah, that's right. So why couldn't you fold us in? If you actually worked and then you fold those others into Medicaid, which Medicaid was for anyway, why couldn't you fold the least, the folks who have not paid a lot into the Social Security system, right? fold them into a Medicaid program, and then that's what really Obamacare was supposed to do. But you know what happened? The lobbyists got hold of it.
But what was Obamacare?
The lobbyists got hold of it, and the Affordable Health Care Act did not come out as it started.
Well, the Supreme Court got a hold of it.
Well, no. Later on, the Supreme Court.
Well, I mean, when the lobbyists got a hold of it,
of course,
it took
the
the Supreme
mandate.
Court, yeah.
But you have to mandate that people get this. Or
Well, it's the only way it's going to work. Right, it's the only way it's going to work. But
so I'm not against Bernie.
But that's the reason why reason why Medicare for all doesn't work, because who's going to be paying for it? Yeah. The whole thing about, and that's the problem that I have with the candidates to get when they talk about it. But no one, it's like it's their aim not to let you understand what's really going on. So we're going to do that. Once upon a time, there was a universal health care plan called the Affordable Health Care Act, or Obamacare, in which was going to be paid for by, in principle, those who had health insurance and those who did not have health insurance. Because there was going to be a certain amount that was going to be paid that what was it called? How were they assessing it as?
It was a tax.
A tax, basically a tax, but they were calling it something else. And it was going to cover folks out there that actually had insurance or didn't have insurance.
That's right.
And they were going to buy into this plan, or they were going to pay the tax, instead of buying into the plan. Because when you buy any insurance, the whole notion is that there are going to be more people paying premiums than there are people that are sick.
That's correct.
Because if everybody's paying the premiums and everybody's sick, it doesn't make any money. So you can't sustain it.
But the folks who were not sick,
right?
The folks who were well,
right,
were not doing what? They weren't running to those exchanges, and that's where the problem was.
But everybody had to be on insurance. The whole notion was that everybody in America was going to be on some form of insurance. You were going to be on your insurance at home, at work, where you work. You were going to be on your spouse's insurance where they work, or you were going to be on this insurance, or you were going to pay the tax.
You're making a case for Medicare for all. I want to get out of here. I want to go directly down to the next one. And the next one, I think, in terms of when you talk about it, is Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg, of course, is polling extremely well because he's paid over $400 million for exactly everything he needs, which is to get name ID. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, that's really what how Donald Trump became the president. It was name ID. Yeah. It wasn't a damn thing he said, y'all. It was name ID. Right. And if you go out there and you vote on somebody's name, then you're dumb. Like my senator from the state of Tennessee said, dumb. D-U-M-B, just dumb.
Or like Amy Klobuchar said,
well,
you think I'm dumb?
And so you can't do that. Not just, what is his platform? And last night was not a good start for Mike Bloomberg.
No.
But I don't think that's the end of Mike Bloomberg. That's not the end of Mike Bloomberg. But he's got a lot of other things that are out there that really I would consider to be baggage. And really, his 12 years as mayor of New York is not helping him.
Well, if I could sum up his issues, I think Mike Bloomberg is a man that's made a lot of money, and he's made a lot of money in a way that he has not had to interact with a lot of people.
Sure.
So he doesn't have a lot of, what I would call social charms, so to speak.
Are you saying we don't go to church together?
And this is Funky Politics, powered by the Kudzukian Network. So, and he doesn't really have a lot of respect for things that are not part of what he's a part of, like his whole comment about farming, which I thought was totally off base about there's no gray matter in farming when one of the most technological industries in America is the farming agricultural industry. And if you ever spend any time in the South, he would know that, which is why he won't spend any time in the South, because nobody in the South is going to vote for him. It's making a stupid ass statement like that.
He's weird.
But it just goes to show you that's that isolationism of a billionaire. Yeah. And I think that's how he's going to get typecast, and that's why he's going to have such a problem as this race goes on. Who's next?
Jump over to the next one. If you're looking at the number 3 person, I think, what are you looking at? You're looking at, some are saying Amy Klobuchar. I'm saying maybe it's Joe Biden still.
Well, so let's go to Amy Klobuchar.
Let's go to Amy. Amy, she's a former prosecutor. Well, currently she's a senator out of the state of Minnesota. And I think she's a senior senator, as a matter of fact.
Right, she is.
Out of the state of Minnesota. And I think she's going to get about as much support out of the African American community as maybe me for Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan out of the African American community, which will be 0.
Wow.
And that's what's going to happen to Amy, and she's done.
Well, I think that Amy's a candidate that has a lot of optimism about her campaign.
She does. She does. Yes,
but I have to go with Elizabeth Warren on it. I think it's all post-it note stuff.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of substance there. And if I look, even when I look at her plan for HBCUs, it's not really a plan. It's sort of like let the chips fall where they may. And
is there an HBCU in Minnesota?
Paisley Park University. There we go. Right there.
Next person. Who you got?
Next. But Joe Biden. The former vice president.
Can he survive? I don't think he knocked himself out of anything last night. I think he held his own. I listened to some pundits that say he wasn't bad, he wasn't great, but he's Joe. He's just Joe. Is he the statesman that we need right now? I think the answer really is yes.
The fact that Donald Trump was willing to risk his presidency and still willing to risk his presidency, trying to discredit Joe Biden means something. And I don't know, and I know what I see right now in Joe Biden is someone of a little less capacity than it was before. And I'm not going to say because of age or anything. I think it might have been because he's been out of politics even for 8 years.
When he was in politics, he was still
But remember, as a presidential candidate, Joe Biden's never been this far, ever. So he's in uncharted territory without a running mate here. And so as a presidential candidate, I am not in any way surprised by the performance that he had been giving before, which was subpar until this last debate. But I do believe that if he can just pick a platform and just say, I've done all like he's doing now. I have been in the White House. We've done these things. We have
been
succeeded.
In a situation
but also be willing to take the bad with the good, because everything Barack Obama did,
wasn't
for God's
good.
sakes, was not good.
No.
But be willing to say we made mistakes. We learned from them. I learned from them. I'm prepared to go forward. He might have a chance if he's got any money left. And that's what comes down to him.
I think he's got money left. So number 5, you got who? Elizabeth, or you got
Elizabeth
Pete?
Warren.
You got Elizabeth ahead of Pete?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Elizabeth Warren.
Absolutely.
What you got on Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Warren is actually ordinarily would be my kind of candidate. If I didn't have that issue about the teaching thing, she'd be great because she's a policy person.
Yeah.
But kind of like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
How you gonna pay for all this, Liz?
Yeah.
And I know she says she wants to take 2 cents from people making $50 million or more, but that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because when you have a plan that only taxes the rich, guess what? The rich always find a way to avert that
loophole,
and the trickle down comes to who? The middle class, the small business owners like myself,
and the po folks,
and the people that cannot afford to take care.
We call them impoverished. No, they po. That's just what it is.
Absolutely.
Damn,
absolutely.
the word is po. I'm not even using po.
So if you
poverty, po, you mean poor? Oh, okay, yeah.
Trying to fund government programs for the needy has been a trick that's gone on, a proposal that's been in America presidency for the past 100 plus years.
And it's a trick pony, and it's not going to work.
Ever since Franklin Delano Roosevelt formally announced that it's trickled down. And I haven't seen anything trickling down when back then and during the Depression of 1929 ain't trickling down now.
It's a trick. That's what it is.
That's all. It's a trick. Trick you down.
And the last one, but last but not least, and I will piggyback on a name that my friend Tammy Sawyer, Commissioner Tammy Sawyer, call him Mayo Pete. I think that you may not. I think it's funny. Mayo Pete. I mean, I think he
yuck.
Whatever. I think the young man has something. I don't think he's right now for our country as a president. I think he's showing it from a lackluster ability to bring all people together. And I don't care who you are, where you come from. If you cannot talk to the largest the largest block of voters in the Democratic Party, which are African Americans, then you got a problem, buddy.
America has an extremely hard problem.
Donald Trump has a problem with that as well. He will not be elected with the help of black people.
But here's what I'm saying.
But he will lose with the help of black
America has an extremely hard problem trying to assign moral turpitude to homosexuality. It's just an immaturity that we have not been able to capture
yet. Not been able to overcome it yet.
We're working on it, and I'm glad to see in certain sections people are working on it, but people are not. And until that's done, when you have someone like Pete Buttigieg, who has all the credentials and actually has a pretty good religious bent about himself, it's going to be hard for him to be able to cross this nation and not get the people that like him, not get the Democrats, but get the people that you need to win the election, which are the swing voters, the nonpartisan folks, the moderates, the white voters, the white suburban voters, the white educated voters. Those are the folks that everyone is really trying to get, because those are the people who, quite frankly, have not made up their minds.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but our minds are made up.
Yep.
We know that every candidate out there's got their flaws, so they got a lot of work to do. And we don't know who you're going to be with. We're going to keep on informing you about them, but we want to make sure that one thing that you are with is voting.
And you got to be with somebody. So guess what? Stick around. We got some closing thoughts. We'll be right back with more Funky Politics, powered by the Kudzukian App.
The whole funk, because we're so funkified. Nothing but the funk.
20 with Tanya, presented by the Commercial Appeal.
20 minutes of the challenges and opportunities, we face in Memphis, but also a lot of the things nationally that concern me and that should concern other people as well.
20 with Tanya.
On the Kudzukian Network.
Funky Politics, powered by the Kudzukian Network, all day and every day. Real right and funky is how we play. It's how we live. It's how we work. It's how we do the things that we need to do so that we can inform you of the things that you need to know. You need to know these things. You got a lot of stuff you got to do this week, this month, and this year. You got to do a lot of voting. Got to do a lot of working. Got to do a lot of loving. Got to do a lot of caring. Because that's the only way that we're going to get this world on the point that it needs to be on. Dynamic duo back here again. DC.
Yo.
Doc Ward.
Yes, sir.
For all you, my friends. Did you miss us?
Man, did you miss us?
Yeah.
You know who I miss, man?
What?
I think the name is it Jeanette Dubois?
Jeanette Dubois.
Jeanette Dubois?
Willona Woods.
Willona Woods.
Rona,
or is Councilman Fred Davis? Wilhelmina Woods.
Wyoming.
He got her name. That was the fun. Let me tell you something.
As James Evans Sr. would say, Rona Barrett of the Project.
Rona Barrett of the Project.
Yeah.
You know something? Sometimes I think we take for granted our upbringing, because I remember as a youth, as a kid, sitting at home waiting for these shows to come on, or the Jeffersons, or waiting on Good Times to come on, because even the title said times are gonna get good one day. But you sitting there,
temporary layoff,
and you're eating a mustard and ketchup
easy
sandwich.
credit ripoff.
Yes,
hanging in a chow line,
living on the 17th floor of Cabrini Greens, Robert Taylor Homes. But there was something to it.
Ain't we lucky we got him?
Ain't we lucky we got him?
Hell no, we ain't lucky. We broke as a joke. What are you talking about?
Man, but these shows
but we got good times.
I'd like to send a very special shout out to her family. As you all are hurting, understand there is a grateful public out there for you all loaning your mother to us, because she brought some sunshine to a lot of our lives at a time when, back in the 70s and the 80s, it was tough on us out there, but she brought some sunshine. And I love that woman, man. I was Wilhelmina, as Councilman Alderman Fred Davis would say, you do good work. It was just funny to me, but she was a wonderful woman.
There will never be anyone ascending from the boutique with boosted clothes again. But
her and Florida Evans are back. Her and Florida back together again.
I was getting ready to say, but they are back together again. And guess what? They are not in the projects. They have, as she used to say, moved on up. Finally got our piece of the pie.
Ain't that something?
And that and speaking of piece of the pie, that's why we do what we do. This labor of love, this labor of life called funky politics, is because everybody deserves to have that piece of the pie. No matter where you came from. Where you came from doesn't have to be where you're going. And you definitely don't have to look like what you've been through.
That's right.
But if you persevere, put some good stuff in your brain, get the dope out your vein and funky politics in your brain.
What?
You might get somewhere, because you can't get nowhere listening to fake news.
Or smoking a pipe.
There you go.
We don't want nobody smoking a pipe no more.
What?
Oh, nobody.
Smoking a pipe is out of style.
No, okay.
Smoking a pipe never was in style, really. But it's definitely out of style now.
You know what? The show today, we've talked about a lot. Let me tell you something. Roger Stone, we hope, will be able to get his just due. If he felt like he was unjustly prosecuted, then that's what Judge Amy Berman Jackson will decide, and she'll either issue a new trial or she won't. Then of course he can appeal that decision on up and up. But that's fine. But we do know there are some things that are going on in our country that are not right. Folks, let me tell you something. Get out there, get involved. Dr. King said that somewhere was written that we have a right. We have a right to protest right. So start protesting what's right. If it's not right that we have a transportation system in a city that doesn't get to all edges of our community to get folks to the park or to jobs or to church then let's protest what's right. Ask those citizen legislators to suck it up and give us the money we need to make a world-class. And there are cities all over the country. Memphis is one. We need a world-class transportation system, because poverty cannot live as long as it's going to live in our community, man. If I can't get nowhere to make no living, I can't get to Amazon way out there in Fraser.
Well, the other thing about it is, and this is Memphis and everywhere that has a significant amount of African Americans in your population.
Sure.
Black business is the business of your city. Black business is America's business.
Yes.
And if you're not going to trade with people of all cultures, if you're not going to trade with people of all genders, if you're not going to trade with people of all sexual orientations, if you're not going to trade with the people of this world, because that's what this world is comprised of,
sure,
then I suggest that you move out of the way and get somebody else that will. Because the lifeblood of our existence depends on us recognizing not only who we are, but whose we are and where we've come from and where we're going. And if you're not willing to acknowledge that, then you're nothing but an artifact. You're a dinosaur stuck in a puddle waiting to turn to oil while you sit back and watch diversity and your blood boils, while the rest of the world goes on its way and lives to fight and live and love another day. But until next time, we're going to get off our heels and on our wheels. And we invite you all to stay with us always at Funky Politics, where we're going to always give it to you straight. But more importantly, we're going to give it to you real.
We're going to give it to you right.
And we're going to give it to you funky. And right now, we're going to go and get out. See you later on. Free Kwame.
Funky Politics, recorded at Kudzukian Studios, directed, produced, and distributed by Kudzukian.